going to have to start and stop.
Wow. Hang on. Oh yeah, there literally is no fucking sound. Oh no!
No, there is sound. You've got sound.
Yeah.
Oh, is that just come on? It's because I've just plugged in the thing. Guys, can you let us know in the chat that whether or
No,
not
that was before you plugged it in.
Oh, maybe I've made it worse.
Well, it doesn't matter anyway, because people need to let us know if they can hear us.
I hear some rumblings now. Yeah, I think it's... I didn't have the webcam plugged in. Okay, sorry, apologies for the no audio start there. Very unprofessional. Andy was...
I was slagging Adam off because he was having a go at me pre-recording for demeaning him in one of his own streams last night. Yeah. Because of what did I say? I can't even fucking remember.
I know. What I was saying is you can make fun of me, but
that was right. I took the piss out of him by basically telling at the same time how great I am, and I'm not allowed to do that during one of his streams. So basically, I can take the piss out of him.
As long as he doesn't reference himself in it.
Yeah, as long as I don't bring myself into it.
Yeah.
So I can call you a complete waste of oxygen and a national insurance number, but I'm not allowed to compare.
I was expecting something more hurtful than that. I'm a bit
disappointed. I know, but I'm a bit like, I don't know where to tread it. You know what I mean? I don't know whether you're going to, like, grab that knife again and threaten me with it like you did 10 minutes ago.
Well, I've got this gun, Brian.
Yeah, so in other words, guys, I'm not allowed to take the piss out of Adam unless it's something he pre-agrees on.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to get our best lawyers on it.
Yeah, don't say... If you want to make fun of me, you better write it down in a bit of paper, show it to me, and I'll either give you a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
Mr. Simpson, you're in luck. So mad like in a bar last night. The sound wasn't out, but I think I got the gist of it. You also get this smoking wonky. Take another puff. He's taking another puff. Oh, brilliant. Pipe down in there, Huts. Don't worry, Mr. Simpson. I've argued in front of every judge in the state, often as a lawyer.
Your Simpsons voices are good. You could just do like a perverse Simpsons episode.
I can do some. I can do Burns really well. Lionel Hutz is okay. I can do Krusty. Hans Moleman. My Hans Moleman's spot on, but I can't do a lot of them. There's some of them I can't do.
I never even tried to do Simpsons impressions. I can draw them.
That's because you're not as talented as me in any way.
I think a lot of people would disagree.
Well, of course they would. This is your channel, you tit.
Well, then why walk into that lion's mouth then?
Well, that is true. It's kind of me on naivety.
Yeah, it is. You know, never try to.
Never try and walk in on somebody else's YouTube channel and then declare I'm the greatest.
If someone has
words to live by here, guys.
If someone has been kind enough to allow you to be on their
YouTube that's right. Channel, I don't do streams. I participate within them.
Yes. If someone has been kind enough to allow the short bus kid to come on a YouTube
the special kid
to come on a YouTube stream, then you should try to be entertaining, funny.
I am entertaining,
not egotistical.
I'm not egotistical.
Make it so that in the future I'll go, oh, you know that Andy, he might be autistic, but he's a pretty cool guy.
How dare you fucking call me out on my...
I've been calling him autistic all day and he's been getting upset.
Well,
but it's like he goes. That girl was looking at me. Yeah, she's retarded.
Yeah, there was that fucking girl. We walked out of your apartment block, and this girl quite clearly was having a look at me and going, without being big-headed. I think every now and again a girl might like the look of me. Adam was like, don't worry about it, she's retarded. Cheers for that, Paul. There's no doubt I spend $100 to come and visit you every now and again. Why don't I do it more often?
Is what you
in fact, can I move in?
This is what you can, yeah. Yeah, that'd be nice.
I'm not paying you. You should pay me.
Pay you to live here. No, you need to come here every few months to be brought down a peg or two.
Nah, I don't really like the sound of that. Can I just respond to our friend Dax Dessett, or should I say Dr. Richard R. Ape?
Is your chat ahead of mine?
You got another channel yet? I have got a new channel, dude. If you are aware, I've restarted one. If I just say hi, you can click on it.
What was it we were saying everyone should troll you saying? Grow some hair, cunt.
Who said that?
Me.
When?
Yes, no, the night before last night.
I don't know.
We were talking about your channel and we were saying people should just all troll the same thing so that we know it started from here. But if everyone just goes to your channel and puts grow some hair, cunt.
That's not very nice.
It's not very
I'm
nice.
a little insensitive about my baldness.
No, you're not. You own your boldness.
Well, yeah, but I'd sooner have hair, though.
Would you? Would you rather have grey hair
Well,
or
I
be
think
bald?
we've talked. Well, if I did have grey hair, I'd shave it off anyway.
Well, you told me I should dye my hair, but I don't think I should because I think, you know, I've been blessed with this.
Oh, Dr. Ape has just said, I didn't know you never Skyped or DM'd me. I thought you would have known, mate, because it was well publicised within, well, not well publicised, but everybody within the so-called T-Cat community were also aware that I'd started another channel. And some of them were responsible for getting rid of it, but there you go.
Oh, are you gonna say that on stream? You're gonna risk what the repercussions?
The wrath. The
wrath
of Khan.
community.
The wrath of Khan.
The wrath of Khan. Is that Star Trek?
It
Isn't
is
it?
Star Trek.
How do I even know that? I don't.
Because it's a very well popular film. And yeah, hello to everybody that's in the chat, by the way. We're just been on the front line trolling many communities.
Coming home. Yes.
Yeah, we know that, pal. Fucking hell. And to be fair, you are very fucking good at trolling communities.
I would like to get some links to some of that, Mr. Ape. And,
Mr. Rape.
Dr. Ape, because I mean,
yeah, he is solely responsible for you staying up for fucking
well,
several.
we discuss this every time.
I know, but it's,
I
still,
don't
it's
deny-
worth mentioning.
Not several
though,
nights, one night.
You got made a fool out of.
No, I was excited. I was like, I'm going to bring this bastard down a peg or two.
Do you not mean what? Do you refer to women as bastards?
Well, Dax Dessy was transgender.
Oh yeah, yeah, but she was now a woman.
Anyone can be a bastard.
Yeah, but you don't generally refer to women as being bastards, do you? You call them a bitch.
When I'm in the bakery, you should see what I say.
You're banned from the bakery.
Yeah, for calling them bastards.
Right, fair enough.
Hey, everyone coming in the chat. Hey, Terry. Hey, Chris. El Santo. Spazzy. Anyone we may have missed. We do have some kind of serious questions.
No, we fucking don't.
Yeah, we do. We're going to get into the, we're going to get into the lion's den later on and talk about some interesting, what I think are quite interesting topics because they came from my mind. So they must be probably...
I'd agree to that.
Yeah. Like when Andy goes home, he's like, he probably has another mate that knows me and he goes, oh, do you remember Adam? One of the most intelligent guys I know. Certainly the most intelligent you know. Finchy, yeah.
I read a book a week. And what books do you read exactly?
Well, I've thrown a kettle over a pub roof.
No, it's like he's thrown a boot over a pub. What have you done? You're shitter. He's just a sad little man. Yeah, he's thrown some trainers over a roof. What have you done?
What have you done?
Fucking genius.
Anyway, let's not get to because we drifted off
Yeah,
into
sorry
a lot
guys,
of
we just
office
quoted
talk
The Office
last
now.
time.
For anybody that doesn't know,
Just go and watch the UK
Adam
version
has
of The
a
Office.
quite sexually provocative picture of David Brent in his fucking
Do you know,
bedroom.
my housemate didn't understand it when I brought that home, and at first I had it in the living room, and he was like, why have you bought this? Like, just to explain it to you guys in the chat, it's like David Brent in a kimono, lying on his side with a guitar in front of him, and my housemate, of course, is completely unaware of the American, but of the English version of The Office. And so he was like, oh yeah, he's quite handsome, isn't he? And I was like, no, you don't understand, he's my comedic hero.
You fancy him on the sly. Why don't you just fucking admit it?
No, I would sleep with him, but only so that I could soak up some of his comedic energy. You know?
You'd have sex with him just so he could soak up his comedic. Well,
Yeah, same way that you have sex with children and say it's to keep you young.
I would, or I have. Listen, it's too risky. I get caught.
If you're going for a pee, don't flash it because it'll be really loud.
Alright.
Right, guys. So Andy's just left the room and left me to keep things ticking over, I suppose, so to speak. So to explain, I have a poster of David Brent from the David Brent Life on the Road movie. But if you have no idea who that movie is, you might think I just have a poster of a man in my house. Well, I can't remember what I said last night, but it is probably terrible things as always, incriminating and terrible things. But yeah, I need you guys in the chat to liven up a bit so that I have something to talk about until Andy gets back, at least. Oh no, literally. Oh, what have I done? I've managed to roll this cigarette the wrong way round.
I pressed the flush.
You've just heard it.
No, it was kind of like a reaction.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's alright. It's alright. It's not loud now. It's just in a minute the pipes are gonna go.
So you're whinging about nothing.
No. In a minute you'll hear it go.
Sure, people will live. Anyway, Have you been boring people stupid with?
No, I've been talking about. See, that's what.
Yeah, because everybody's fucking distraught over that.
Well, I am. I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight, and then the No Doubt Man will start playing his music in the morning.
Let's fucking hope not.
Well, we can only hope and pray.
Could be worse though. No Doubt are alright, aren't they?
It could have been. The thing is, some of the songs when they wake you up at 9 in the morning,
yeah, you're not going to appreciate them, are you? Even if like somebody rung Noel Gallagher out at that time, they're like, turn it fucking off.
Yeah. By the time he was on his 4th or 5th song, I was like, oh, this one isn't too bad. Quite like this, but I was like, I would quite like to go to sleep.
Yeah, I'd like some kind of sleep. Yeah, it wasn't ideal. Let's be honest.
No.
Anyway.
Right.
Excuse me.
Nothing. Well. We are in Spain, and it is 8 minutes to 1 a.m. And yes, Johnny, marijuana.
Oh, Dax is in the house.
Yeah, marijuana is legal in Spain, however, not in Great Britain. In Spain, it's not completely legal. It is you're allowed to grow up to 3 plants for personal consumption, and they have special clubs that you can go and buy it from, where you can become a member.
Yeah, it's called prison.
Well, I wish. But yes, so it is technically legal, but obviously it has to be smoked with discretion. Like, you're not allowed to go and blow the smoke in a baby's face.
He found that out tonight. Unfortunately, he got a police caution.
Well, yeah. I just thought it'd be laugh to get a baby stoned, like when you get a dog stoned. And
can I just say hello to everybody? And hello, Terry and Spazzy and Johnny Utah. I love that fucking film, you know. Point Break. And Chris is here. Hey, Chris.
Yeah.
And obviously our friend.
Is that where the name John? Is that Keanu Reeves' name in Point Break? Johnny Utah.
That's Johnny Utah's the name.
I haven't seen that film in so long.
You stupid bastard!
Just because I
commenting all these times that you didn't know what.
I just thought it was a cool name.
It is a cool name, but his fucking picture is a picture of Keanu Reeves.
Is it?
Yeah.
But I haven't got any eyes.
Oh right, yeah. Sorry about that. I must apologise.
Well, I just thought he loved Keanu Reeves and Johnny Utah was his real name. Yeah. Just thought he was all like, oh, bit of Keanu Reeves.
It is a great film, though, isn't it? You must admit.
Oh no,
I used to really fancy her as well. Is it Laura Petty?
Keanu Reeves.
Well, him as well, but is it Laurie Petty? Laurie Petty.
Oh, she gets her knockers out in that film, doesn't she?
No, she doesn't.
Someone does.
No, yeah, but no, it's the girl in the house when they do the sting that gets the tits out, but it's not.
Yeah, no, but I remember because that film came out when I was a kid, and everyone's like, "Oh, you've got to watch this. There's some tits in it."
Yeah, it's fucking amazing, that film.
Yeah, anything. Dax says stone babies are my favourite babies.
Why stone babies your favourite babies? Are they easy to manipulate?
Right, exactly. I think they're just calmer, aren't they? just a lot more chilled out.
Dax.
Have you guys ever seen The Professional? That's got to be the most blatant kiddie diddler mainstream film I've ever seen. I was disgusted and hard at the same time. I got to the end of that, I was like, oh, this is a good point from Dax, and then...
And then it went down the same old fucking route that it always does.
I've not seen The Professional, that's why I'm giggling. In fact, like, if films are harrowing, I can't watch them.
What is The Professional? I'm not sure I've heard of that.
No. Apparently it's a film about a kiddie fiddler.
I'm fucking there.
Probably a documentary on your life.
I didn't know that. I don't ever remember a fucking camera crew following me about it. How long are you fucking taking with that, man?
I've rolled it the wrong way round.
Fuck me.
Yeah, well, let's... Anyway, we're going to talk about some interesting things tonight.
No, we're fucking not.
Well, apparently Andy's going to ruin it. No, I thought the list of things I mentioned to talk to you about earlier were very thought-provoking.
Yeah. Would you like to enlighten us on what they were?
I can't remember. I'll have to have a look. Right. Oh, yeah. The first point was amazing.
Of course it was.
Yeah, literally you'd have to be a genius not to think about this. Right. So the first thing... Right, we're going to talk about how the reason that like people are getting so fucked up on the internet, people like Chris Chan and people that get trolled and that sort of thing, is because no one's been through it before, because the internet relatively is new.
You got passes your glass.
I haven't even taken a sip and rolling this.
Oh. Yeah, go on. Sorry, mate.
It relatively is a new thing, so there's no one. It's not like something before, like a profession where someone can go, okay, this is how you are successful in it or whatever. The internet is something that only our generation has endured. So we are literally on the front line of the people that, I mean, maybe not us personally, but people that we take an interest in.
Have you noticed how Adam tried to put himself in the position of like heroism then?
Did I?
By like, we're on the front line, we're the fucking masterstrokes of this organisation.
No, I just meant we were on the front line as in we're the first people to
No, that was your ego coming out. I'm only blinding you. Go on. No, but I get what you're saying. It's kind of a new... It's kind of a new thing that's going on.
It's something we're all discovering how to handle the best ourselves. And like, so someone like Chris Chan, for example, his parents couldn't have sat him down and said, watch out for people on the internet, it's going to be full of trolls trying to fuck you over, because they wouldn't have had any knowledge of that.
So, let me summarise in English what Adam's just said. I think... So, because the internet's such like a new revolutionary thing, because it's changed the way virtually everybody lives, I think most people can probably agree with that. So people are being now brought up through the internet, in a way. So if you think about it, because it's new, there's no precedence for it. So how is the new generation of people being affected by this?
Well, yeah, we won't know. People will only discover for ourselves. This is why someone like Chris Chan is so interesting for me, because it's like an extreme case of someone like, I think we've all.
But isn't Lorne the same?
But would you not argue that kind of Lorne is a bad person? Now I know Chris Chan, like you can take his flaws as a human
whether he's
being.
Good or bad is not really the point.
But Lorne did something that a lot of people would find is unforgivable.
Yes, but what I mean is, Lorne fell into the online world and didn't know how to handle it, and he has got that part of him which is quite malicious.
Who do you think's more intelligent out of Lorne and Chris Chan?
I'm surprised you even need to ask that question.
Chris Chan?
100%, do you not agree?
Yeah, no, absolutely, yeah. But it's odd though, isn't it, that Chris Chan is the one who's on the autism spectrum.
No, but Chris Chan comes from decent parentage. Like his dad was successful, had a bit of money, you know, had a few patents, had this and that. Not to have a go at Lorne's dad, because we don't know who he is, but you get the impression that Lorne's genetics are not the fucking greatest that's ever been concocted in a human being.
Yeah. But some of the things Lorne said throughout his law, it's been like, oh, like the Amanda James that he mentions, and like, oh, my sister talked to her, and my sister knows the internet better than me.
Can I just, sorry, Adam, I'd have to interrupt you because Johnny Utah has just come out with a fucking cracker. Chris was filmed by a 13-year-old pretending to be an adult. Lauren was filmed by an adult pretending to be a 13-year-old.
Very true.
Brilliant. Oh, fucking brilliant. Sorry to stop you mid-floor.
No. Well, in fact, we were talking about their parents there, though, and this was part of my other thing we were going to talk about. If you were Chris Chan's parents, what advice would you have given him with the knowledge you now have about the internet? What would you have sat him down?
Stay off it.
Wow.
100%. Just don't ever go. Don't have a YouTube channel. Don't fucking do. Don't. Because we were talking about. We went for a few beers before, weren't we? We were talking briefly about, YouTube, because YouTube's how we met. And it's not a huge part of my life. You have a bit of a revenue stream from YouTube, so it's a more prominent part of your life.
Not as much as it used to be.
No,
but
yeah. in sort of monetary terms. So in other words, it plays quite a. Well, if it weren't for YouTube, we wouldn't have met that.
Yeah.
So it does affect people's lives, is what I'm saying. We were talking about it, and what was my fucking point now? I've gone.
But I think at least Chris Chan has done some things that are commendable throughout his life. Okay, he's most of them.
What was my fucking point now?
Most of them have been self-centered things, but at least he created a character and wrote a comic book. Could you name anything commendable or achievable that Lorne did throughout his life?
Yeah, well, the byproduct, or do you want me to get really technical now? Epiphenomenon, it's called, is a posh word of saying a byproduct. The byproduct of what Lorne did is it's brought a lot of people together, and it created a lot of entertainment for people. And when I say a byproduct, he never meant to do it. He never even meant to do it.
No.
But it's such a bizarre scenario that he did that, and it brought a load of people together. It's like, since I started, I think it was 2 years ago when I started YouTube, and it's been a mainly positive experience for me. On the whole, it definitely points towards being positive, but of course I've had a lot of negative things. I've had a lot of abuse, a lot of a lot of people trying to attack me, but that's being in the YouTube. That's just being part of YouTube. It just happens. But it's like, how do you sort of, if you're, like we were saying before, if you're going to talk to somebody about how to approach the online thing, what do you kind of say to them? How do you guide them? Lorne didn't know what he was getting into. Chris Chan didn't have the awareness to realise what he was doing. It's a fucking minefield. It's like, it's a new part of the human world that everybody's still adjusting to. So it is kind of a big deal. Yeah, the new Chris Chan documentary's been taken down. Heisenberg White's in the house.
Oh, hey, Dan.
Are we talking about Chris and Lorne? Oh,
well, we are. We've kind of got on to that subject, haven't we?
Yeah, well, we're kind of talking about the overall theme was how it's a new thing in society today, the internet, and how prevalent it is, and how parents are ill-equipped to teach the kids about the pros and cons.
Because parents didn't experience it themselves, so they can't say, like a parent can sit you down and go, okay, this is some good advice for a job interview, this is some good advice for life, but they won't be able to say, this is good advice for how you deal with things on the internet, because it's not something they've experienced.
Exactly, yeah. So I think what I was saying before about the YouTube thing, in my experience so far, it's been a positive thing. I've had a lot of negatives from it, and I've never fully understood why. So I'm sorry to harp on about it, but it's kind of an important point for me. I've never fully understood the amount of shit I've got, really. But someone pointed out to me that because I did have quite a few subscribers and people liked what I did to a degree, you're always going to get that in any field that you're in. Because I was viewed as being not successful, because that's ridiculous. Successful would imply making money and making a living, but I was pretty, without sounding egotistical, Adam, sorry, some of the videos I did were pretty good, I thought. I did some decent stuff.
Oh, we're
So
not denying you did some good videos. Would have never messaged you if you did shit videos.
Yeah, but the point was, because I was alright at what I did and did some interesting stuff, there's always a degree of people that will see that as being, they'll get personally offended by it. And I've never really grasped that.
Oh, sorry, no.
I thought you pointed at something.
No, I was flicking a bug landed on the back of my neck and I was flicking it away.
Oh, right. No, but I've never really fully understood why people. Well, I suppose it. I don't know.
But to a lesser degree than say Christian or Lorne, you and I have also been learning because we've been putting content on the internet, but then sometimes you do get reactions to it that you don't expect. And it ranges all ends of the spectrum. Like I never thought anyone was going to watch any of my videos. I got like 10 subscribers, and I was. In fact, back then I was quite happy because there was no pressure. Like, I would upload anything that was, shit, terrible quality. Didn't mind, though, because the few people that did watch it seemed to enjoy it. And then when it got more popular, and then some people started to dislike me or actively say things that were kind of hurtful would be the wrong word, but like things that got under my skin in the comments section and stuff.
You mean like personal things?
Well, not personal, because they don't really know anything personal about me.
That's the thing about me. You're not open, but everybody knows my real name, and a lot of it, where I'm from and stuff like that. I don't hide behind anything, so it gave people a lot more ammunition to personally go at me, and that was a bit of naivety on my part. But I never expected that. Like, I'm not trying to dramatise it, because I'm a fucking human. I have like fears and likes and strengths and stuff, but when you get a YouTube channel and people are saying things like "I hope you die," which I've had a few times, you're like,
have you?
Yeah.
I've never had anything that dark. I've had someone that wanted my interest so they could fight me, just like FIFA, but on YouTube someone wanted to come and fight me. And it ran and ran, and then eventually I just blocked him. I was like, I should have just done that from the first comment. But it's very easy to just jump in and start, defending yourself. And if you make a video that you're proud of, and then someone says you're a shit cunt and I hate you, then yeah, it can quite easily get under your skin a bit. Like, you're like, well. But at the same time, you always wonder, well, if you hate me so much, why did you bother watching this?
Yeah, and it's got to that point with me now. It doesn't bother me anymore. It used to, but now it's like I kind of look on them people and I feel sorry for them, because if you are at that stage in your life where you get a kick out of writing shitty comments to people, it's like you've got to have empathy for those people, because really, how shit must their life be?
Well, the thing is that I think there's a big difference between constructive, even if it's negative, but something that's constructive. Someone says, I don't like this. And you can go, okay, maybe that wasn't the best choice for me to make in this video. But or it really depends in the context, because you might go, well, that's my style of comedy, fuck you. But someone might say something and go, okay, I didn't like that you did this, and I don't think you're a nice person because you said X or Y or whatever. That's fine. People have their right to those opinions. If you put something out for the world, possibly the world to see, then if someone says, I don't like you because of this, that's their prerogative. Whereas if someone just goes outright, you're a cunt and I hate you, with no context, those are the kind of comments that get under my skin.
But I've had not many. I'm not trying to beef it up. This is the thing, right, about me. There's no bullshit with me. I have my faults, but I speak the truth. or what I perceive to be the truth. There's no cloak and daggers. There's no hiding behind fake accounts. There's no fucking bullshit, and that leaves me more open to criticism. And
do you think? I mean, I think it really depends on. Because some people might start an account under a fake name because they know they're going to get hate for it.
I don't know.
But I think it was the same for probably the creation of both of our channels. Like I started with absolutely no expectations with YouTube. I just wanted to make some videos being funny and see what happened. And I've met lots of people in the time prior where people go, okay, my aim on YouTube is to get 100 subscribers. And it's a terrible mentality to have. My aim was never to get 100 subscribers. My aim was like, if one person watches this and likes it,
but that's the right attitude to have, though, because you're doing it. You're not doing it with an incessant need to be successful. You're doing it for a bit of entertainment, and it's like it's a strange thing because some people, even when I had the old channel, I used to like look at the videos. And I think, fucking hell, that's like 10,000 views, and you. As a human, you go, oh, that's nice. You like positive attention. Anybody does. So you do get a bit of a. You have to be careful. Not if I'd have invested a sense of self in my channel and go, oh, look at me. I've done all these videos and I'm great. What a ridiculous way to live that would be. How ridiculous, because it's take the compliments. That's fine, and do something that people enjoy, and that. For me to make videos, and some people have messaged me and go, oh, you've just released a new video, it's made my day. And I know it didn't make the day, like, but what I meant was, like, some people were happy.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not trying to say I change people's lives, I'm not that stupid, but what I mean is I make a video, and you do it as well, Adam. When you do a stream and you do the funny, the scam baiting things, and it's really funny, it cheers people up. And to have that kind of not influence, but if you have that kind of ability where you can do something positive and it makes people smile or entertain, what a brilliant what a blessing you have. Do you understand what I mean? Not to...
No, absolutely. But that's if you go into it with no expectation. The thing is now for me, I think my mentality changed during kind of the trajectory of my channel, because if someone had come to me 2 years ago and said, you'll have a video with 1 million views, I'd be like, fuck off, that's an absolute lie. I'll never, I've got 20 subscribers, that's never going to happen.
But can I interject there?
Yes. That's why I went silent.
Oh, sorry, I just didn't want to be rude and interrupt you. But you, that video that you've done that's got 1 million views is very entertaining. But if you'd have invested yourself in that, in other words, and you've gone, fucking hell, I've got 1 million views, that means I'm great. So many people do that. But that's a very dangerous road to walk. Yeah. Because you're not really... One of the reasons that video got so many views, it's not just because of how entertaining you are and you're a funny guy, it's because of the title of the video. And a lot of people... Do you understand? I'm not demeaning what you've done, but what I'm trying to say is, one of the reasons that video's got so many views is because of the title. And then they go in it and it's entertaining. But what I mean is, if you developed an ego because of that video, you'd be walking down an illusory path. Oh, yeah. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I mean, that video, I didn't even realise when it had gone over 1 million views. It happened a while ago. You looking for that?
No, I was trying to dish out the beer.
Right.
Fairly, so I don't get more than you.
There we go.
Right, I'm having that bit.
Oh shit. Should we get Dan on?
Yeah.
Right. But I think to be level-headed, it's a benefit, or not even maybe level-headed, but to have no expectations. If you go into YouTube and all you want to do...
Hey there, guys.
Hey, mate.
How you doing?
What's going on, brother?
Not much, just...
chewing the fat.
Just, so to speak. Just getting back from lunch.
I'm sorry I was a little late to the stream. I don't think, I had the bell on, ready for to hear you guys, but yeah,
I
sometimes
think
I
we
don't
can let you off, Dan.
get that
Don't
alert.
worry about it. But
Hold
have you
on
got
one
any,
second.
you're a,
I'm just going to switch over my listening device here so I can now properly talk to you guys real quick.
Yeah, I'm just turning you up a little bit because you're a bit quiet, but I think I've got you at full volume now.
No, Adam deliberately has other people in the stream at a lower volume to
No,
himself.
well, according to Dax, Dan's really loud and we're really quiet, so I'm not sure what's going on.
Oh shit! Yeah, now? Sorry guys.
Any different?
To us, he sounds quiet.
And fuck up your nice stream that you had going. I'm sorry.
No worries.
So, Dan, have you got any sort of, I believe you two have quite an astute mind. Any comments on what we're talking about like the naivety of going into the online world because we compare Chris to Lorne, and it is an interesting comparison, isn't it?
I think they're very similar
I was asking
characters.
Chris.
Sorry.
Dan.
I was just elaborating on your question to Dan.
Can you not
please
answer it?
Go ahead.
Well, no, I want his answer to it. I said, but there's a lot of similarities to be drawn in the two of them. But of course,
No doubt.
Chris Chan he's never done anything completely depraved. He's done a lot of things that have made him a target for humiliation.
Well, I touched on it in your comments there a second. I don't know if you saw it, but both men like, even in the older generation, especially rather in the older generation now, it seems like they would have benefited from some sort of early training back when the internet was still in its infancy and wasn't quite what it is today. Most people recognized that it was going to become this big thing that people should start paying attention to and start learning because it was going to revolutionize the way businesses operated, the way people communicated, and they just totally skipped the part that a lot of us have had, just the time to just kind of work out the kinks and figure out how things work on the internet. They didn't have the luxury that modern day children now have, in that even in some schools, middle schools and high schools, are offering internet literacy classes, which I think are very, very important, even to the younger generation that,
Do you know what those entail, Dan, though?
Well, what it should entail, like back then, would have been like, all right, here's this great new invention. Not everybody's going to use it for good, though. So here's what you got to watch out for. You're going to possibly be the victim of a scam.
But that's what you're saying in an ideal world, though. What do we think that they're saying now?
Well, nowadays, I think it's more of like hey, don't even basically don't think you have all the answers on how everything works, because you don't.
Brilliant.
Like, here's what we know so far. And, here's how you can use these tips and tricks to your advantage. Don't give out your public, it's a lot of safety. Don't give out your public information freely. Keep an eye on your
that trick. You tried telling Kayla that.
Yeah, look, I bet Lauren is smart enough to tell his friends, hey, watch out for scams on the internet. They'll come after you. But he thinks that if he talks to somebody he's never met over the phone, that all of a sudden that proves they're real. And now it's okay to, that's all the verification I need, I guess. So, so that's why I think that's become a more important staple in at least the American education system. It really wasn't a big thing when I was in school. It was still kind of like this. The internet was sort of kind of like a monster that's just always transforming into something new. But I think at this point, kids and adults both have a pretty good grip on what the internet is and how to.
I don't necessarily agree with you there.
Yeah, but remember, both the people we're taking into account here, Chris and Lorne, we're talking both of them over 10 years ago started this.
No, but Dan, I don't know whether we're talking about the same point. Dan seemed to imply that most people have got a bit of a grip on the way it works, but I'd have to disagree with that and say that I don't think people do, because if you look at the drama that goes on in these forums, and I don't mean that as in specific forums, I mean there's still, look at all the, sorry to go into it again, look at all the Star Wars shit that's going on. We won't talk about it because Adam will let me, but do you understand what I'm getting at, Dan? It's still a massive problem, isn't it?
I think nowadays it's more of what you make of it. Somebody can be back then when it was just chat rooms and it was, and before social media, that was your primary engagement with people, online forums and chat rooms. you got whatever you got. But now you can kind of narrow it down on who you associate with, where you get your news from. You choose what you see and what you share with certain people. It gives you at least the illusion of more control. We can get into online privacy and corporations and things like that another time. But I'd say somebody can be very content and just overwhelmed already with the few choices that they can make in their daily lives.
So
somebody who has the ability to just go on and check their Facebook a couple times a day is already collecting so much knowledge, but it's all controlled. They've controlled who they hear from and what they see, whereas back then the internet just kind of was what it was, and
so
you just got
Dan,
everything.
that we've got the second generation of internet people that are becoming more aware of it.
And that was the Web 2.0 era. The internet obviously is not what it was 10 years ago or even 5 years ago. I think more people have come to realize that the biggest and best advice you really can get when it comes to the internet is expect the unexpected. When things go viral for no reason, when people are just hated on for what seems like no reason or praised for no reason, it's like that's just because the internet. It loves the weird stuff. You can't predict any of it. Can you guys possibly predict what the next big meme is going to be?
No.
No. It will just happen for no reason. And that's how the internet works. Is that you can't, you don't go to, I wonder what meme.com is going to tell me is the new meme today. It's manufactured by people, and people are kind of unpredictable. So, but once you accept that, then it becomes a lot easier to digest. And
in the late 90s, like the burgeoning of the internet, there was a naivety to or what we thought was everyone on there.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember going on chat rooms, like chat rooms where literally
the adult chat rooms.
They were just chat rooms, and they were just
romance
text.
Rooms.
They were just text, nothing else. So you had to take everything as given, and you just go into these chat rooms, and there would just be like an ongoing conversation of people, because they were like, "Wow, look at this! We can go on the internet and we can just chat and chat." And then you'd see one with a name that says like blonde girly 72. And you'd be like, "Oh, well, she must be a blonde girl who was born in 1972 in that case."
But Lorne still thinks like that, though.
Oh, yeah, he does.
That's the funny thing about it. He's still not learned one lesson.
Yeah. I think he's maybe since then added one extra verification step. Like, I think now he needs to hear people's voices. But even then, that's how they were taking advantage of him.
Kayla's voice and just assumed that she was a real person.
Yeah.
She did sound like a real person, but that real person sounded like an 8-year-old girl.
And to be fair, a lot of the Predators, I think it adds another element of realism. If you hear a voice, there's part of your brain that wants to believe it so much that you can't think it could possibly be wrong. And I think that was the powerful aspect of the phone verifications, wasn't it?
Lorne never thought to himself for a second that he was breaking the law, so he never thought, why would someone go out of their way to pretend to be a girl? Just like if he was a drug addict and a stranger approached him on the street out of nowhere and said, "Hey, you want to buy some drugs?" and it was an undercover cop, and he'd go, "Well, why would a stranger offer me drugs that they didn't want me to buy? I don't get it. It's just a business."
But I bought. I mean, I doubt you had it because you're from up north. But I had the internet.
We don't have electricity.
No, exactly. You've still not even got the internet there. But we had the internet in '96, and I was very naive. Like, if someone said, "I'm this," I'd be like, "Okay, you're that." You wouldn't even think to question it. And I think both Lorne and Chris Chan, they both, went on the internet around that time. But I think the difference with those two is they were both so openly desperate for love from someone.
Yeah, you're right there. That's the one common theme that we have. They both had the disadvantages, but they both wanted that special sweetheart, didn't they?
For me, I remember I spoke to a girl on one of these text-only rooms, and someone at the time had told me I looked like Edward Norton, so I was clinging on to that like some kind of I'm handsome lifeboat, and so I was like, someone told me I looked like Edward Norton, do you look like anyone famous? And she goes, yeah, I look like Cameron Diaz. It's like, oh, damn, right, we got to meet up.
Oh, she must be genuine then.
Yeah,
I'm sold already here.
But I met her with her. She looked like the honey monster.
There's a girl at work that looks like that.
But anyway, and that was when the sort of the realization hit me. I was like, people could say anything on the internet, but then I suppose she probably at the same time thought, well, he doesn't look like anything like Edward Norton, the ugly cunt.
It's a bit like an Only Fools and Horses where he says he's got a Ferrari, but I suppose, sorry guys, our American friends won't have a fucking clue what we're talking about. But yeah, it kind of, the thing is, like, you know, we're all involved in, anybody that's listening to this now, and us three guys here, the internet plays a massively important part in our life, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Well, for me, I would say more so at the moment, especially because I'm in Spain, in a country where, okay, I can communicate. I've picked up the language, but I'm still not fluent, and I'm still very underconfident when I speak to people in Spanish. So for me, being able to use the internet, especially now with online gaming...
Can I tell people that joke of what happened last night?
Yeah, let me just finish this and then I'll
Sorry.
quit. But especially something like online gaming where, you know, I can go and speak to people in my native language. I can have a little piece of home, like something I would do when I was at home, whereas when I was living back home, I'd have a mate round to play a game together. Now I'll hit that mate up on PlayStation Network and we can play together. And in that regards, the internet is an absolutely fantastic thing. It saved me from feeling homesick a million times.
Well, yeah, I didn't really think of it like that.
But yeah, you can now tell people about what happened last night.
So, guys, we were outside in the local square Adam lives, where the church is, and there's a nice little square. There's a couple of bars, and we were outside having a very pleasant drink. And I was taking the piss out of Adam, saying that his Spanish speaking skills are pretty shite, and that he can't really speak it. And then he said, of course I can, in his egotistical way. And I said, well, prove it then. Tell me now.
I'll translate anything you want into Spanish.
That's what he said. So he said, I can translate anything. I said, well, you tell me now that you want to fuck a disabled child. And then he spoke them words in Spanish when there was a woman behind us listening to every word he said, giving us the funniest faces you've ever seen. And Adam's going,
yes.
Oh my God.
Disable le sexual.
No, quiero follar como con un niño disable.
We're not deleting it. This is going to live on this video, right?
This is
I
going
want
to
this
get me banned from YouTube. In all Spanish-speaking
and then
countries.
it's like, I'm laughing my head off, and he's like, oh shit, what have I just said? I'm in the middle of a Spanish fucking table of loads of people, and I've just said what I said in Spanish.
The worst thing was, as well, I went for the male thing, so I didn't just say a child, I said, I want to fuck a little boy.
Who happen to be disabled as well.
It is kind of funny that Andy even brought up the fact that your Spanish wasn't very fluent, but you could flawlessly utter the phrase, I want to fuck a disabled young boy. No problem.
I never even considered that aspect, Dan. I'm glad you brought that to me attention.
Because what you should have done is said, oh, gee, you know what? You got me there. I'm not really sure I can say. I mean, I can try.
Yes.
But his ego got the better of him.
He played to my weaknesses. And yeah, then the woman gave me a very odd look. And then he goes, she's on the phone. She's phoning the police. I was like, oh, fuck.
In your very broken Spanish, you would have tried to explain to the police, like, no, I don't want to rape a child. I just spend most of my nights talking about men that want to rape children.
Can you imagine if you had to explain to the cop why he actually uttered those words and said, well, what it is, right, I have this YouTube channel, and then this guy took the piss out of me.
No, it'd be worse. I'd be like, well, he's got a YouTube channel. He refers to himself as the king of pedos.
No.
We worship him. We talk about him. We analyze him. Yeah.
I've made over 200 videos about Lorne Armstrong.
Oh, brother.
Have you made over 200 Lorne videos?
I had around about 200 videos on the old channel.
Jesus Christ, that's literally on Lorne alone.
I'd say probably about 125 of them were on Lorne.
Wow. Even on my main channel, I've only made 240 videos in
Oh,
total.
fuck, I was prolific. At one point, I was
You
knocking
were
out.
a prolific pedo.
Prolific little cheddar. I was knocking out about 3 or 4 videos a week at one point.
Jesus.
Now, in both of your experiences with YouTube, I would assume at this point, even though it sounds like you guys still get your handful of the random trolls that find their way into the YouTube comments so easily. I think, and I touched on this in the comments before again, but I think the major issue, and it's a lot easier said than done, but a lot of people spend more time focusing on how to retaliate against the troll rather than deciding whether or not they even should retaliate, because it's inevitable. You're gonna see something on the internet that pisses you off, whether it was targeted at you or not. I can't imagine at any point Andy ever saw an opinion on Star Wars that he didn't obviously agree with. Being such a casual fan and all. But let's say in like weird alternate reality, you see something that's so stupid, and it like boggles the mind how angry it makes you, that you just gotta tell them they're wrong. You gotta lay into them. You gotta humiliate them for some reason. But think like if you took a 30-second break and step back, you're like, what's probably gonna happen is they're gonna see that and just stick to their guns, and we're just gonna argue and nothing will be resolved, or they won't see it at all, and that was just a pointless amount of time that I spent typing out that response. So it's very easy to get caught up in the moment.
Yeah, you can understand. Every now and again I bite, and I know I shouldn't, but it's very easy to get caught up in it. It's like only Adam.
I did it today.
Only Adam was talking. Adam spent, right, I was in his living room before, and we were supposed to be having a game on FIFA, and he spent more time fucking arguing with this fucking YouTube kid who's probably 16. And he's like saying, "Have you heard what he said? It's bollocks." I was like, "Well,
no, but actually,
I was trying to explain to you how illusory the fucking argument that you was having with this guy, because it had totally lost its reality."
Well, no, but do you know what the biggest issue was even replying to his comment?
No, but you're just doing it now.
No, but listen, because I replied even to his comment whatsoever, it showed insecurity. And that's why it started running. And then I'm like, well, I can't back down because I'm into this. So
you bit, and that was the problem.
Exactly.
But then you've got to know, you've got to be able to walk away at a later time.
Go ahead.
Well, I did in the end, but I had to have the last word.
No, you had to have me to fucking tell you.
No, but I had the last word as well. So that's
See? You're fucking still doing it now.
No.
Guys, he's had the last word. It's all fine.
No, okay. The reason that I had an issue with this, and I don't think Andy understood it, and I was trying to explain the thread of comments. But listen, right?
Hey, Adam, do you see how you're having an argument right now, and neither of you are changing your opinions, and it's not going to resolve anything, and it's
right. Lockdown. Press the block button. Get rid of it.
That's kind of what we're talking about.
You stop talking sense, Dan, because we're going to get rid of you. All right?
No, this guy. This guy, he said, he commented on my third most popular video on my scam baiting channel.
Here we fucking go.
And he's
okay, you know what? I'll give Adam a break, because I got a story about one time that I also bit on a troll, and I thought I was the top dog, and I realized that after the fact that was a little silly. But go ahead. I want to hear your story.
Well, the thing is,
somebody commented on something that people liked and you worked on. Yeah.
I prefer to hear Dan's story.
But his comment was nothing really. But his comment, I don't know why I felt the need to respond to it, because especially on like one of my most popular videos, I get a lot of comments, so I don't really respond to hardly any of them, and I feel bad because the ones I should be responding to are the positive ones. But he just put a comment, and all it said was, "How is this funny?" And I was just
like, point though. No, I'm kidding.
No. That's kind of the point he then tried to make, though, because so I replied and I said, well, comedy is subjective. I don't, I say the exact same words when I watch How I Met Your Mother or The Big Bang Theory. If you don't like it, turn it off. And then I got a bit snarky, admittedly, and I put, if you want a refund for what you paid for watching it, I'll pay you back in full. And there was no need for that. It clearly showed he'd got under my skin, but at the same time, I guess because of the whole way YouTube's been going as well, it's a bit like, well, why don't you? what I should have just said is, if you don't like it, turn it off.
No, but you kind of did say that in
Yeah.
another way. But you bit.
Now, like, I can at this point in the game identify what is, a troll in action, and usually I won't even bite. But what bothers me more sometimes are like the really passive aggressive comments that were just unnecessary or weird. I got one a week ago on my documentary on YouTube, which really is the only video I'm actually proud of. Everything.
Dan, sorry to interrupt you, mate. Which video is that? Which documentary?
So last year, I made a documentary about 25 minutes long on the Church of Cod. It was my final thesis assignment for my university.
No, I have seen it, and it's brilliant. I just didn't know you was talking about that one. I thought it might have been another one.
It's fantastic.
Oh, no. The rest of my videos on my channel are trash, so don't even think about it. It's garbage. But most of them were just live streams.
Well, the documentary is genius.
But the documentary, I put a lot of work and effort to, and almost all the feedback was positive. It was my first stab at this type of project. But anyway, so I got this comment that really just bugged me for some reason. Let me see if I have it here that I can pull it up. And I thought I had like a clever response to it.
When was this, Dan? When was this comment made?
A week ago, which is strange because the video's been up for like over a year at this point. Anyway, so a channel, I won't say their name, but I've never heard of them. The comment reads, and I don't know, maybe you guys will get a kick out of this or can relate to it. Gotta wonder if the voiceover people, he's talking about the people that I featured in the video, really believe pornography fans really want to hear you blabbing all over this video. All we want to hear and see, and Chris Hansen, fucking hilarious. And Lorne, please shut up and re-edit ... fuck. I said it kind of weird like that because he randomly switches between all caps and the regular type for no reason. And that really bugs me. He's obviously just scouring the internet for unedited
we had almost an exact same situation with the Russell Williams interview, where someone said to us, this they would be great if these two cunts aren't talking over it.
And they found our video and were like, God damn it, now I have to sit here and watch the whole thing. Like, no, you don't.
I've had people having a go at me for the Dusty McFetridge analysis saying, I'm sick of you talking over it. Can you not shut up so we can listen to the interview? The fucking video's titled An Analysis of the Interview. But yet people are complaining.
Well, it happened on the Russell Williams thing we did that, of course, we never finished, as with everything we start and never finish. But it happened with that, and someone said, this would be great if these two cunts aren't talking all the way through it. And it's like, but you can find this video on YouTube. We are literally analysing a YouTube video.
That would be like if I popped in one of my Simpsons DVDs. You know, I have a lot of the series on DVD and went to one of the director commentary features. And while they were talking over the episode, I was like, this is bullshit. I can't hear anything that's going on. I wrote Fox and Matt Groening like, you need to turn off those blithering idiots in the background so I can watch The Simpsons. Like, what did you think it was? Anyway, so I responded because I just couldn't help myself.
Well, that's the thing, though. That's what we're talking about. Is every now and again we bite, don't we? We know we shouldn't, but someone will say something every now and again, and you'll be like obliged to kind of. Even in that SJW video I did on my channel, it's had like really good. Everybody's been having a bit of a joke in the comment section, but every now and again someone will say, you know, what a load of shit this is, or something like that, and I'm like, well, what the fuck are you doing listening to it in the first place? It's very strange.
See, I just wrote gross and hair, cunt.
Oh, cheers.
No, I haven't actually commented on that video.
To Jack, if you really haven't seen it though, it's called Rose Kiss Smiley, documentary on pornography in the Church of God. You can find it up my channel, Heisenberg White, and when you go there, you'll probably find the comment I left that guy. I'm
gonna put the link to it in the chat now because it's really good.
Thanks, brother. I said, yeah, I'll re-edit this entire documentary I made by myself for my final thesis in college. I agree. It seems to focus too much on an interesting internet subculture and not enough on just stolen, unedited clips from the original show. Thanks for the advice. I'll be sure to give you a producer credit in the new version.
Brilliant.
A little
Brilliant.
thumbs up, yeah.
But the problem is with that reply, that's an intelligent reply. You're not going to get an intelligent response. So even when you're saying that, you're kind of wasting your time, aren't you? Do you understand
Exactly.
what I mean?
What am I possibly expecting him to say? Like, oh, damn it, you know what? I feel like such a fool. Now that I look at it, this is a fantastic video, and I apologize.
Exactly.
I will never.
Exactly. That's the response that
happen.
you want, but you're not going to get it.
But it's very similar to what I had today, because that guy said, "How is this funny?" And then he replied to me, "Well,
it's really got under your fucking skin,
because,
hasn't it?
Because you wouldn't listen to me when I was trying to explain it earlier. Because then he said, "I'm asking a genuine question. I'm 3 minutes into the video."
It's a question.
It's a question. But he said, "I'm 3 minutes into the video." So I'm like, so you haven't watched it, and you've decided to write in the comment section, "How is this funny?" So
that'll show him.
Yeah. No, but
what does he expect from you? Guys, I'm shutting my channel down. I've realized now.
You're right. Please give me your bank details, and then I can send you $1 million for the inconvenience.
Allow me, for once in my humble life, to be a little bit egotistical. But
I'm not allowing that at all. You've consistently had a go at me for my massive ego.
This is a video with 350,000 views on it.
Oh, here we go.
And
he's
throwing
out the fucking figures. Have you heard that,
man.
guys? I'd have had 350,000 views on that video.
I've got a million on.
See? There we go.
But anyway.
See? I was right.
It's all seeping out.
Guys,
now.
this was a blast. I gotta pop out. I got a mate coming over. We're gonna hang out tonight. So look, anytime you guys wanna chat again, I'd love to do more commentary or analysis with you. Thanks for letting me be a quick guest spot on your channel again. Always a pleasure.
Yeah,
hello everybody.
To have you, Dan.
It's refreshing to have someone intelligent to talk to.
Yeah.
What's that?
He said it's nice to speak to someone intelligent, because when he speaks to himself, it's like monkeys in a barrel.
Oh, you got
Turtles trying to play the guitar.
All right, guys. Well, thank you. Have a good rest of your night. Good luck on your Spanish lessons, Adam. I hope to.
I'll try not to shout any of Andy's what he tells me to translate again. Jesus.
Yes. There's we can come full circle now back to that lesson of not how am I going to prove myself and win this argument, but should I even bother entertaining it? And the next time somebody wants you in a public place to announce your desire to rape a child.
Jesus,
brilliant.
But guys, thank you.
He's got to go.
Yeah. All right, Dan.
Cheers, Dan.
I'll be in touch soon as well, because we've got that thing that I'm being really lazy on, but I'm trying.
Well, I like you. I'm very anxious to start my first ever adult film. So if you get back to me about when and where, I got to be for that. And
I must be in that. Otherwise, you two are going to get trolled to fuck.
Well, once I've finished the script for Milkmaiden 7, then we will be right on that. All right. Yeah.
All right. Bye, guys.
Yeah, see you later, mate.
Bye. No, but I think it sounded a bit egotistical because I didn't finish talking about the whole contest of the thing. Yes, that video has a lot of views on it, but the fact that the guy then said, "Well, I was asking a genuine question," and his genuine question is this funny? After 3 minutes of not watching it, is that not a contradiction? It's like, well, why not watch it to the end and then decide for yourself?
I'm a bit confused about your story. After 3 minutes, how do you know he only watched it for 3 minutes?
He told me he was putting timestamps in his comments.
Oh, I didn't know you could do that. Oh, you mean putting the time of the video and how is this funny? Right, but that's
no. He wasn't taking one part of it. He was saying, I've got this far. I've got 3 minutes into the video, and now I'm asking, how's it funny?
But that's not to imply that he didn't watch the whole video. Do you understand what I'm saying?
But then why say that?
Because he might have been watching it, got to that point, and said, "This isn't funny."
Why did 3 minutes upset him? more than
No,
the other 23
yeah,
minutes.
you're right. It would be, but what I'm trying to say is you're taking it gospel that what he said is accurate. How do you know? How do you know that wasn't deliberately to fucking wind you up like it has done?
Because then I would just be looking for malice in someone. I was trying.
No, but you are.
Do you think?
No, you're not looking. You're not that type of person. You don't look for the bad in people. But what I mean is, you've perceived his actions in a certain way.
I perceived his original comment of "How is this funny?" to be "This isn't funny."
Right.
And so basically, my comment, the gist of it was, "Well, then don't watch it."
Yeah.
Fair enough, then, no.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is, you're making assumptions that he's behaved in a certain way when you've got no fucking. Do you get what I'm saying?
So
what I'm trying to say
is, do you think he meant it then?
What I'm trying to say is, you're probably right. I think you did get to 3 minutes and then said this is shit. But what I'm trying to say is,
But he didn't say this. If he'd said this is shit, I wouldn't have replied.
No, you're not getting what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is, you don't know that the way that you're thinking is right, and it's wound you up, and then you've replied, and you've got involved in this situation where it's all an illusion because you've both misinterpreted what each other have been saying, and because you're pissed off, you will believe what you want.
So are you saying maybe because this is a problem I had in Scotland? Because you know in Scotland they say the word how when they mean why.
Yeah, yeah, maybe.
It fucked me up in Scotland. I was working in a bar and I moved the chairs around to make more space. And the guy went, "How have you moved the chairs around?" And I was like, "Well, I fucking picked them up with my arms and I moved them to another part of the room." And he was like, "Well, don't be a funny cunt with me. How have you moved the chairs around?" I was like, "I've just told you." And literally someone had to step in and go, "He means why." In English, he means why, but in Scottish, they say how.
But that's the point of exactly.
Right, so
what
maybe
I'm
he was saying, "Why is this funny?" So if he's saying, "Why is this funny?" then why can't he form his own opinion?
But there you go again. You're making assumptions. Why can't he do this? Why can't he do that? So the point is,
you were trying to defend him, and I'm trying to be as open-minded as possible.
No. I'm not trying to defend him. I'm trying to say why never perceive anything the way you think, especially online, because 80% of communication is non-verbal. So the problem inherently
But
lies.
online, it's all textual.
But that's what I'm trying to say. So when you get involved in someone in an online discussion, because it's only grammar and words, you're losing the most vital part of any communication. So anything that you write is being immediately misinterpreted. So you can never get involved in someone in an online discussion and get personally affected by it, because straight away you're stepping into an illusion.
But you do it, even on your most recent.
I'm not saying I don't. I'm not saying I'm great. I never do it. I bite. I'm trying to say why we should never.
Yeah.
Especially even when you're talking to someone verbally, like if me and you have a disagreement now, there shouldn't ever be an argument.
Oh no, I absolutely agree. The best course of action would have been not to reply whatsoever, especially on one of my most popular videos, because why would I take the time? It shows a severe insecurity to take the time out to reply to that when someone else has said in the same hour, this is fucking hilarious. Why haven't I replied to them saying thanks a lot, man?
Yeah.
Because I'm a cunt.
We're kind of agreeing but disagreeing at the same time, aren't we? I suppose I'm saying, and I'm not like, obviously, like you just pointed out, I do it. I'm not being hypocritical. I'm just saying, if I was a better person than I am, I'd never reply to any negative comment. But they say things, and you feel
compelled.
What I'm trying to say is you invest a sense of self in it. So if someone was to write a comment on one of my videos, which is going to happen at some point very soon, someone say you're full of shit and you're crap, you kind of feel offended by it. But there's no reason to feel offended because that person doesn't know you.
No.
They don't know who you are. If they did, they wouldn't do it.
But I think it comes in for me for being a combination of an egotistical and petty man. And like, so I see that one bad comment, and I'm like, well, everyone else fucking loved it. Why don't you love it, you bastard?
No, but there's that small element of you. There is. You're not free of ego.
No, absolutely not.
So there is that point of view, but do you not understand that it's all bollocks?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we shouldn't even be giving it cause for discussion now.
No, but
it's
it is
interesting.
It's interesting because
you're getting a look into my psyche.
no, but the psyche of the troll is an interesting one because it gives people a platform for them to throw abuse at people and get rid of their anger, but not feel the repercussions of it because they're sat behind a computer. Whereas
Keyboard warriors,
yeah, but that never happened before. Before the internet, if you had to, and it's, what Lorne said about people had to back up the words with fists. As much as funny that was, he's kind of right, because what it means is you can't run around online and say what you want. Of course, he didn't realise that he manipulated the internet in the worst way you could do, but
it's like I said, I've had two instances, one on YouTube, one on PlayStation Network, where people have wanted physical fights with me, and then I've been like, well, that's the most pathetic thing I've ever heard.
But I've had, not many, I'm not trying to dramatise it, I've had people saying they wish I was dead.
Well, yeah, that is worse. I haven't ever actually had someone say that yet. I've been quite lucky in that context. But if someone just writ KYS cunt on one of my videos, I wouldn't. I quite like that.
No, yeah, because even I was getting a little bit of shit not long ago, and you was like, "Oh, I take that as a compliment because you're clearly like fucking."
But I do find positives probably where they shouldn't be found.
No, but there's nothing wrong with that because you're not taking it personally. But like that argument that you had with that guy or whatever before, that's a perfect example how much you're just wasting your time with complete fucking
But then you could analyse it the same way we did when we were watching the Madeleine McCann thing yesterday. He's really, how is this funny? Okay, the thing I want to be more in the world is funny. So that's why I replied to him. I've always wanted to be a comedian,
so
even before
it's
YouTube.
took away your insecurities a little bit.
Well, he probably didn't even realise that. But like, if someone says they don't find me funny, well, I mean, like when we do these streams, there's a lot less pressure. Let's say.
A bit like when you insulted my singing the other day. I didn't like that.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's something that you like. You think you possibly in your mind, in your biggest dreams. The same with me with being a stand-up comedian. It could one day happen. So yeah, it's really like I've always wanted to be funny. Even before I did YouTube, I did stand-up comedy. I was never hugely successful, but I was well received.
At all.
Well, no, but I was well received. Have you ever stood up in front of 4 men and a dog? And
I couldn't do it.
Exactly. So for me, it's if someone says they don't find me funny, that's probably the most upsetting thing they could do, because I do consider myself a comedian, even if I'm a comedian with somewhat of a niche. That's been quite lucky in YouTube, because I think sometimes you can get away with more things.
You have had a bit of luck to get to the level you've had, but it's not. Some of it is pure timing and luck. Some of it is because you are sometimes very funny.
Yeah.
You have got traits as a person and someone on YouTube. There's no doubt about that. But of course, you still shouldn't invest yourself in that, because if it were all to collapse tomorrow, you'd feel down about yourself.
Oh well, I don't think I would, because
I've
had a nice time.
No, but
I was ready to quit YouTube 2 weeks ago. I've still got a video on my computer that I told you about, and no one else told you in confidence about, which I'm now announcing to this stream, where I was ready to quit YouTube because I was done with it. And my main sort of thing I wanted to convey to everyone was what a great journey, how many fantastic people I'd met, but I'm just done with the platform as a whole.
No, but you didn't really mean it.
No, it was a backlash to Gino Samuel having his Chris Chan documentary taken down, which I thought was one of the best and only things I was really looking forward to.
And we've been talking tonight about you sort of putting a bit more effort into the YouTube thing, because you've got a good thing going on there, and I don't think you put the effort into it that you should do.
Well, no, I probably should be more militant with my streams and such. But the trouble is, because everyone on my main channel, everyone expects me to be a scam baiter. Now, if my fucking software doesn't work, it puts me under a hell of a lot of pressure if I've got a list of
But
numbers,
that's-
but
that's-
1 in 10 are
But
words.
you can't shy away because of that. That's a bit like a stand-up comedian saying, "What if they don't like my new material?"
But what
You've
but,
got to do that.
But my channel is called IREC Scammers. People are expecting me to be dealing with scammers on that channel.
So you're blaming the technical
No, I'm
issues.
blaming myself for the no. But if I had started, the thing is, when I started that channel, I think when I started that channel, it was in my original full name. My first maybe 150 subscribers all know exactly who I am. It was like you, I just had my name because I'd only ever set up the account to comment, and then it started getting more popular, and I was like, I probably need a name that more reflects what my channel is about, because all the videos I'd made were scam baiting. And I did, when I first started, I made a few kind of vlogs and a cookery video. People didn't like them, so I just continued with the scam baiting. So now I have a channel that's scam baiting. Now maybe I could be funny without the scam baiting, but it does make it a lot easier when you've got a little Indian fella to take the piss out of.
But there's nothing wrong with that though, because you're finding. I can't really, without getting too gay or anything. I like what you do. I think it's entertaining, and I'll be totally honest with you. Some of it's not funny, and some of it's hilarious.
Well,
Like,
but if you put that amount of hours in, I could be always
no,
consistent.
that's what I mean. I didn't mean it to demean you in any way. But what I mean is, if you're listening to them, and you take a 20-minute segment, there's 20 minutes which you probably won't get one laugh from. But there's like a 5-minute segment in that somewhere where you'll be in stitches. And that's not the way a comedy program will work, because you've got to keep it
But
going.
that's not even the way a stand-up comedian would work. A
No,
stand-up comedian needs to have a laugh every few minutes. But with stand-up comedy, when I did that, it'd be very different. I'd go up with a tight 5 minutes that had been written.
Yeah,
and
you'd have more
practiced.
flow. No, you're right, because I suppose what you're saying is it's not easy to do what you're doing and keep people entertained for that amount of time, and that's right. But
the scammers is a niche.
But you're letting it psychologically affect you. You've got enough of a following where you could do them videos, and even if there's only one 5-minute segment that's brilliant from, I don't know, 2 or 3 streams at an hour reach, nobody would condemn you for that. The people that follow you, they'd still be up for it, wouldn't they? Do you get what I'm saying? What I'm trying to say is I think you've got a bit of a psychological barrier where there doesn't really need to be one. Well, I think you need to have a bit more confidence.
No, true, but this is the point of this channel, to do, my own vlogs, whatever comes into my mind, and try and be an entertainer without having to rely.
In other words, is there a part of this, the success or not of this channel, because it's only, it's really small and that, but is there a part of you that looks on this and then judges yourself on it? In other words, when you're doing non-scammer stuff and you're doing streams or allowing me to participate in some of them, is there a part of you that thinks, shit, if I don't get good feedback from that, maybe I'm not as good a comedian as I think I am? Is there still do you understand what I'm saying?
No. Yeah, but the thing is, I always get good feedback. Like the little couple of sketches I've done on this channel, they've never had anything negative whatsoever. But so few people go to watch them. I think to be a success in something like YouTube, you have to have a niche. You have to have that niche. Whereas if you're making something absolutely
we
raw,
do though.
Yeah, your channel was about lawn. My channel was about scam baiting. Whereas this channel, like the few things that I've put that like Cockney Charlie's cookery, and there was one other I did on this which was just me doing some kind of sketch, but I've forgotten what it is. People aren't. It doesn't have anything to draw people in. So yeah, I'm proud of what I made, and they get really good feedback from like the maybe a couple of hundred people that are like, oh, we love everything you do. I get your sense of humour, but it will never be successful because there's.
But what do you deem as success though? Money?
I don't know. It sounds bad as well, but you look at someone like, you've probably never seen it because you don't really actually watch YouTube people.
No.
You look at someone like Stephen Tries, and I mean his channel's only got maybe
don't know who he is.
A couple of 100,000 subscribers. he freely admits he rips off Gervais and Coogan in his sketches, but his sketches are original and they're very good and they're very well worth watching. If you guys haven't checked out Stephen Tries in the chat, do. But he's only like 19. And I almost feel jealous because I look at that and I'm like, well, if I had known about YouTube when I was 19, I could have got my mates, I could have written sketches, got my mates to perform them with me and made that happen. And it wouldn't have the same pressure as something like scam baiting where you're relying on a little Indian fella at the end of the phone to provide half the entertainment. And also with that, because it's such a, like, you know, all right, I'm making a call, we've got to wait, we've got to sit through a hold message. It can take a couple of hours, and maybe out of that, an hour is just bollocks. And I'm there trying to talk. Now, it's fine if you've got a few jokes, but especially when you do it on a regular basis as well.
But
it becomes almost like a reality TV where people are just sitting there watching, hoping for something funny.
yeah, but also what you just described there, it's very, very difficult. If you get like even a really hardened comedian to do what you do and do all these prank calls consistently and come up with these different characters, it's very hard to keep everybody entertained all the time. But you do a really good job of it. But it is very fucking difficult because you can't. You're almost coming up with improv comedy all the time.
You are under pressure to try and be funny, and the thing is, it is 100% improvisation. Now, I might draw inspiration from somewhere else.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that because I remember, I think it was either on my channel before it got deleted or one of yours, and someone made the comment about you on one of my videos and said, this guy's not funny, all he does is quote fucking Gervais. And you do quote Gervais
a lot, but not all the time.
No,
some of my stuff is completely original.
I know, but you've got, even me just saying that now, it's struck a chord in your brain where you've had to defend yourself.
Well, yeah, because I know, because I've
No, but it's got to you though, that comment, and I've just recited somebody else's, and it's like, you bastard, you can't say that.
No, I know, because I remember.
You know what I'm talking
the stream
about,
you were talking about is I literally quoted word for word a Gervais joke and tried to claim it as my own. And that is, in stand-up comedy, it's something that happens. There's a big thing, I think it was Dave Chappelle and some other white comedian, and they both ended up with the same joke, and they tried to sue each other for using each other's jokes. And they were like, and then there's even a word made for this where someone tells you a joke and after maybe 3-4 years it seeps into the back of your subconscious and you repeat that joke without realizing that someone else said it. You think it's your own creation in your mind, and that is what happened with me that night. And then the moment I said it, was like, that's just a Gervais quote, and I knew it, and the guy pulled me up on it, which was fair enough. But yeah, it didn't look particularly good to just be stealing other people's jokes.
No.
But you think about the amount of hours, though, that I've put of live streams and stuff on my main channel. It's much more than the hours that are even in Gervais's stuff has done, because you have to do.
Are you trying to say you're better than Gervais?
No, I would never say that. No, I'm saying there's enough original content there to realise that was a genuine mistake.
Oh yeah, of course. There's no doubt about that.
It's not like everything I take is stolen from somewhere else. That I despise people that do that. When I was doing stand-up comedy, the worst thing I ever saw, I went to a competition, Bexhill-on-Sea, somewhere down south by the coast. And it was a competition then, the best comedian of the night got 500 quid. And as always, I was in financial dire straits. I was like, I need this money. I've got to put on the performance of my life. And I did Julio as always. But a guy came on during that night, and he basically went up and he did the Gervais joke, how tall was Hitler and where did he live? And he did another Gervais joke, and then he did a Bernard Manning joke, and then it was all stuff ripped from other comedians.
Well, then the judges should have fucking picked up.
Well, he got booed off the stage.
Oh right, that's all right then.
Yeah, because all the comedians knew it. So I would never take someone's work knowingly. As much as I love it, I think like flattery is the biggest form of, or I'll credit someone if I do. I mean, I did the routine from The Office with one of the tech scammers where I said, "What would you do if we were in the army and a man attacks you from behind?" And I just wanted to see what the Indian guy would say to that because it's a brilliant comedic line. But I said, even in the title of the video, I've ripped this from The Office. At least I credited it, whereas where that stream you're talking about, where the guy said that was just something that had sunk into my mind, and I truly thought it was my own. But and now I've got my catchphrases and people want the same things all the time, which Sir Edward is a bastardization of other characters I've seen before. Like I'm not the first person to do a rude drunk old man.
Oh no, not at all.
And I think the reason people love the I'm Scottish is because it's just stupid.
It's just funny. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a catchphrase, isn't it? You know what I mean? Yeah.
It is, but then I don't want to become Gervais. You're like, garlic bread. And
that was Peter Kay.
But when I'm doing a stream and it gets late and it gets towards the end and I'm struggling to get someone on the phone, then I'm Scottish. It's a great thing to fall back on.
No.
No,
it's like, do you remember when me and you did the reading of Lorne's comments and we were trying to come up with like different accents and characters all the time?
Yeah.
It was really fucking hard, wasn't it?
Yeah,
but it was also fun because you were testing yourself, and I can do impressions, I think alright. But it was still fucking hard, and it was just a difficult fucking thing to do, but good fun at the same time.
No, it was a lot of fun. But yeah, so I don't even know the context of it, because it was just in talking about my trials as a creative artist.
Yeah, we're having I think we mulled over everything we done, didn't we, about this?
No, there was one last thing I think I wrote that we didn't talk about. I've lost it now.
Isn't there enough vodka in that bottle in there to get 2 shots out of it?
Yeah.
Shall I get us a...
Yeah.
Alright.
Oh no, yes, this was an interesting question I wrote down earlier, guys. So Andy's gone to get the last droplet of vodka that I have, because we are alcoholics. We really are Scottish. Well, we're not, but my question was, and this was something thinking in regards to the whole Chris Chan situation, like with his girlfriends and that. If 2 girls are trolling one person and he has something going on with both of them at the same, or not girls, 2 people pretending to be girls are trolling one person, is it technically cheating? Where does the morality lie in that? And I was thinking about this because of Chris Chan when he was speaking to Poison Ivy, or Ivy, not Poison Ivy. She's a DC character, Ivy. Thank you very much. I think this is for putting washing powder in things. Oh well.
It's been washed. Has it got?
No, it's fine. It's fine. That's Strovia. Raw vodka. Oh.
It's fucking horrible.
Sylvester Ransom, that one. That's a cigarette that's nearly done. Do you want a whole cigarette?
That's a cigarette?
Yeah. I just put that in it because I've run out of filter tips.
Oh, right, okay. No, forget that.
Yeah. Anyway, so here's a hypothetical question for you.
Wow.
If a man is being trolled by 2 people who are stating to be female, and he gets involved with both of them, is it cheating? But they're both trolls.
Right, I'm already lost. You're going to have to explain that again.
Take, for example, Chris Chan.
Right.
Someone like Chris Chan, he spoke to a lot of trolls on the internet pretending to be girls.
Okay.
Chris is talking to 2 girls at the same time.
Right.
He believes he's in real relationships with both of them.
Okay. But do they know about it, though?
Yes, the 2 trolls know about each other.
No, but they're supposed to know about each other.
You're asking for too much detail.
No, I'm not, because that's inherent to the problem, isn't it? If he knew that they were both aware of it, it wouldn't be even an issue.
Well, the only reason this question popped in my mind, and I probably thought it was more existential than it really is, but it's because of the point where I was listening to. You've listened to number 12 of the Gino Samuel documentary.
Yes.
And he's talking to Ivy at the same time as talking to what he thinks to be the Disney actress Vanessa Hudgens.
It's a bit like when Lorne was cheating on Kayla with Kimmy Coco Bot.
Exactly.
So.
Is it still morally incorrect?
Yeah, of course it is. Because Lorne, if we're looking at the Lorne context, he said Kayla was his one and only and he loved her. So in other words, exclusive. So if he then starts trolling around online, it is cheating.
Mm.
Do you agree?
Yeah. Well, I agree with. But the thing is, I think I only wanted to ask it because it's quite a loaded question because it's all kind of fucked anyway, isn't it? Because they're all trolls, especially in the case of Chris Chan, where they both know about each other.
The only person it has any real meaning to is the person that's doing it. So in other words, was Lorne acting dishonourably? And of course, he's acting dishonourably, trying to fucking screw a 13-year-old, and he's also cheating in his own mind on that 13-year-old. So you've got, he is telling Kayla he's madly in love with her. He's fucking, I believe he's convinced himself of that, but yet he's still willing to cheat on his imaginary girlfriend that doesn't exist anyway.
Well.
So what does that fucking say?
Well, yeah. See, this is the more I'm watching of that Gino Samuel documentary. Oh, guys, by the way, if you're not aware, the Gino Samuel channel, he was making a fantastic Chris Chan documentary, and it's he's had his channel deleted from YouTube because of YouTube. You can find it on BitChute. But yeah, in the 12th episode, there was a whole bit that I had no idea about. As there is with every part of that documentary, there's a whole new kind of insight I'd never known about in Chris Chan's life. But this guy was meeting, the guy that was pretending to be Vanessa Hudgens was also meeting him in real life, Joshua Martinez, and getting Chris to pay for TGI Fridays meals for him. And if you listen to Gino's commentary, and I don't know, like, I'm guessing his sources are great because it's such an in-depth commentary, but he says in the commentary, he says, Joshua would take him, they would go to TGI Fridays, and he would make Chris pay for both of their meals, and one time, because Chris had already paid in that week for one of their meals, that Joshua ordered his own food and sat and ate it in front of Chris and paid for it himself, but Chris wasn't allowed to eat. And I was just like, I mean, that for me is just really cruel.
Yeah, but we've kind of agreed, haven't we, that
it's quite simple. I feel kind of, the more I watch of it, the more I feel like, okay, maybe he's not the best person, but with the right guidance, he could have been on a much better track in his life. With a good mate in his life.
He's been destroyed by the internet. Unknowing, and I will anyway. Michael Jackson was destroyed by the press. And that's not necessarily the press's fault. He tried to use the press to his own advantage, so he's got a little bit of responsibility. But the amount of incessant information that people need and trolling about such figures makes it almost impossible for them to live anything like a normal life. You look at Elvis died at the height of his fame. If he'd have carried on living, he would have been destroyed by the press.
Yeah, well, I don't really know much about Elvis. I mean, I know he was a fantastic singer, and I like some of his songs, and I think I can do quite a good Elvis impression. But
really?
Yeah.
Let's not even go there. There we go. Yeah. So, what was your point?
I don't know. You brought up Elvis, and then I got confused.
Right. Okay.
But no, I actually, the more I saw of that documentary, the more sympathetic I felt towards Chris Chan. I see a few people now have been doing interviews with him, and he's kind of becoming a bit more public again. Hopefully it's going to be good for him, because I don't think he's irredeemable.
No, I don't think he is, but it's probably not going to happen. It's like, I don't know, I find it interesting with the Chris Chan thing, how many people they've destroyed him, basically. It's kind of a double-edged sword. He went into the online forum and tried to make a career out of it, and it failed, and it's backfired on him 100%. It's made his life pretty much a misery. But that doesn't give the right of those people that have subjected him to what he's been through the right to do what they've done. And that's the same reason why I disagree with all that Lorne and Ramona shit. And at the beginning I was a bit naive and I found the funny part of it. And then when I started to think, well, hang on a minute, why do we need to do this to this guy? You know, what
do we get from it? Well, we got entertainment.
We got brilliant entertainment. That doesn't mean it's right. It's like people will try and justify anything. So they'll say, he's a danger to children, so anything that I do is justified. And that's the justification people will give themselves. And that's a very dark path to go down, because what you're doing then is you're saying, I'm right, and anything anybody else says is bullshit. And you've given yourself justification to do anything. And that's really... I wish people could understand.
Well, but maybe in the case of Lorne, it's easier in people's minds for them to
because
justify...
Because of what he did. But you've got to give people the opportunity.
I'm not disagreeing, but maybe in the case of Lorne, it's easier to justify in the mind what they're doing. But at the same time, the people that trolled Chris Chan had the same mentality. Okay, they didn't say he tried to fuck a little kid, but they went, look at this bastard with his sign in the mall. They're saying, oh, because he had a sign saying he only wanted girls from 18 to 24 who were cute and were not slow in the minds. They're like, well, how dare, he's autistic, how dare he have a sign saying he doesn't want to be with autistic people. He's a terrible person. That gives me the right to do whatever I want.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. It's the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it doesn't make it right, does it?
No.
Because it's the same old adage of, do unto one as you would have them do unto you. It basically means don't... The thing is with Lorne, people will say it can still be a harm to children. And I believe under the right circumstances he would try and sleep with a teenager. But I don't think he'd force himself on anyone. And I don't think that the circumstances in his life now would mean he's really any real danger. And you've got to try and give human beings the opportunity to become better. And if you condemn them for something that they've done in the past, the karma cycle never stops. And you're buying into it.
Well, the amount of time that's... Okay, it's very unlikely, but perhaps during the amount of time that has been taken from his life, he could have been doing something positive. Now, clearly not working with children, but maybe he could have been building an orphanage or... that's where things come in. Now, with Chris Chan, I would say it would be far more unlikely that he would do something positive with his life outside of the trolling. Lorne, if he was just left alone, might sort of think, maybe I need to sort myself out. But Chris Chan always wanted to be documented on the internet. He made his own little DVD called "Yep, Look at Me, I'm on TV."
So what's your point? Is that Chris Chan kind of deserves it and Lorne doesn't?
No. I'm just trying to put all arguments forward here.
No, but so you don't believe that?
I don't think. I don't want to sort of say anything too for or against.
Don't sit on the fence.
All right, well, I won't sit on the fence. In regards to all trolling,
right?
If you do it with a positive intent, or at least an entertaining and comedic intent.
You mean like Dax did?
Yeah. Then it's very different, because Dax can, make me stay up for an evening or whatever, and you can find it very funny, but it's not like that's going to affect my life as a whole.
But that's why we always appreciated that level of trolling, because it was funny. They did have the better of us, and we had to stand up and say, that person's got the better of us, we admit it, but it was all in good fun.
Yeah, and we learn from it.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between us and someone like Lorne or Chris.
But
They don't
someone
learn.
else, and I'm not trying to say me and you are great, although I am more than you. If someone else had been subjected to the trolling that Dax did on us, they might have reacted really angrily and even violently and gone, "You fucker, I'm not having it." But we were like, you know what?
But Dax wouldn't, from what I know of the person that is Dax, they wouldn't have done it if they hadn't known that we were.
No, but his words were, the only reason he stopped is because he realised me and you were like...
Taking it very seriously.
No, it weren't just that though. These were his own words. I'm not just saying that. He said he realises me and you are genuinely nice guys. And them were his words, so he couldn't take it any further. So if he'd have got ammunition and he were doing it and the people came across as being a little bit vindictive, he might have carried on. But we kind of, because of the kind of people we are, we didn't fall into it too much. So,
but it was very extreme from the start with Dax, though.
Yeah, we almost feel stupid for fucking...
No,
well, I always told you it was potential bollocks, didn't I? I'm not trying to...
But it was... yeah, but of course...
But you fucking believed it.
No, but again, I'm going to sound egotistical and righteousness and stuff, but the protection of children is something I'm passionate about.
No, and to be fair, you did come across quite well in what you were saying. You were saying, you know, don't joke about this because there's a really serious element. And you're right.
I'm all up for pedo jokes all the time, but when someone... We didn't know with Dax. If Dax was someone I've known before and they're going, oh, I want to fuck a kid, but I know they're not going to do that, not a problem. But we didn't know this was an unknown entity.
Yeah, they were pretty much advocating.
Advocating. Talking about the age of consent in
Yeah.
Japan and that kind of thing. And so, yeah, of course it got under my skin because I'm like, well, no, this, you know, it's all fun having a laugh about this sort of thing. But when someone's saying it and they're saying it as if they believe it and they would do it, then I want to come face to face and square up to that person. But yeah, and then of course when I said to Dax I'm going to stay up all night to have this debate, but the thing is, a lot of the arguments that were put forward, although they were for terrible things, were eloquently and intelligently put, which was why I was drawn into the whole.
No, it was a very good fucking trolling session.
But again, I learned from that. That was an internet experience I learned firsthand. No one could have ever warned me about that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I suppose what we're talking about, there doesn't seem to be a continuing specific thread of what we're talking about at the minute. But if you look at Dax's trolling, it was good humoured. What I liked about it was it never got personal.
No.
No matter how controversial what we were talking about was, Dax never attacked me or you personally. And I think that says a lot, because that means that the reason that you're doing it, it's not vindictive, it's all for the name of fun and a bit of piss taking. And when you start getting personal and attacking people, that's when you know you're going down a dark path. You should never do that. It's, you know, it's just why, you know, everybody's got their own. I'm getting a bit.
The only person I personally attack is you, but it's only in private anyway. That sounded bad.
No, that sounded truthful from your point of view. I know where your fantasies are coming from.
No, but I mean, like, but between mates, you can go as far as you want with jokes. I think.
No, but you know it. The reason you're friends is because you kind of get along and you have a similar view of the world. So when someone says something to you, you know that person, so you know how to take it. But of course, when someone you don't know says something, it's a little bit different then. And you can get easily offended, and especially online, it's like...
Yeah. But it's very easy. Sometimes, I think even without realising, to come back to that comment I had today, someone could say something, comment that's totally nonchalant, but it can go right under the person who's created that content skin because it's the one thing they're insecure about.
But think about, and this is what I always think about.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, go on.
No, I was just saying, when I get like pissed off because someone's called me a cunt on one of my videos, I just think, can you imagine how genuinely famous people go? Like a famous person. Yeah. Let's just say, I quite like Robbie Williams, mate. Let's just say Robbie Williams, right? he's a very successful guy. He must get shitloads of people calling him a cunt, and if you think about it, how do you deal with that?
But then I think it all comes. The thing is, if 20 people call you a cunt, but 100 people call you great,
But it's that's not the point. The point I'm making is it's still difficult.
Once you put yourself in the public realm, that's the only way to deal with it.
Oh, of course it is, and you're right, and it shouldn't get to you. But it's like, how can I get pissed off because one person writes something on one of my videos and calls me something like a twat or something?
But what I was going to say is, like that guy said the one thing, well, not the one thing, there's many things, but something I'm insecure about. Like, I think I'm funny and I want people to think I'm funny. Chris and Lorne, both of them, wanted love. That's why they were on the internet.
So
they were looking for love.
That's not a bad thing. It basically means they had like insecurities and normal longings that's built into us for companionship.
But they didn't understand the boundaries of.
No, they didn't. But should we condemn them for that because they're misguided? Is it?
Well, I think in Lorne's case, yes.
But still, yeah, it's very hard. You can't justify what he tried to do, but you can feel sorry for him a little bit because how bad must life be if you have to go down that route? How bad must you feel as a person if you have to?
Well, I think
a child.
This is the issue with Lorne and why it's always going to be a contrived subject, because you can argue that maybe he was the loneliest guy on earth. He just fucked everything up where he lived, run away to Nashville,
scammed a couple of couples.
He couldn't afford a bed, so even if he had scammed, he certainly didn't have that money anymore, did he? The trouble is, as an adult, he should have enough self. I mean, even Chris Chan knew, like, he wrote on his sign, a girl from 18 to 24. And Chris Chan was desperate for love, and he would do anything. He's proved that time and time again. He would do anything, no matter how stupid, obscene, humiliating it might be. He would have done anything for that. Whereas Lorne was trying to manipulate a child because he
But he didn't realise. He did realise, but what I'm trying to say is he didn't sit down one day at a table and go, right, I need to manipulate a child. It's something he got caught up in. He didn't really get what he was doing, and he still doesn't. And that's not trying to justify it, because you can't. But what I'm trying to say is that level of understanding and that lack of intelligence and that fear that is running around in Lorne, you've got to have a bit of empathy for that and say, you know, it must feel terrible to be that kind of person. Do you understand what I mean?
But I don't. The difficulty we've had when we made like the videos analysing Lorne, we always said like you can almost associate in a way because he's kind of a bumbling idiot, and I think we all feel that in ourselves from time to time. But he knew that being physically, or even wanting to be physical, or making it clear he wanted to be physically intimate with a 13-year-old is illegal.
Yes.
And he should have at least had the intelligence.
But he didn't.
Yeah. So, I mean, is it a matter, like, you can say, okay, I'm so desperate to be loved, I want this person to be in my life. Maybe, the thing is, on another plane, in Lorne's first few chats to that girl, he could have started up what he thought was going to become the most beautiful platonic friendship. Now it's a bit weird. We're getting a bit into Jacko territory.
Fuck off.
But he didn't stick to that, did he? That's what he wanted to make out at the start, and then you can't just say, oh well, time or whatever. You know, it wasn't like 5 years had passed and she had turned 18. A week or a few days had passed, and he suddenly was all interested in getting up in that pubescent vagina.
You can't defend it, and I'm not trying to do. What I'm trying to say is that it's a shame that people have to exist like that, because it can't be good. It can't feel good to be that person who's that desperate, can it? You know, but that doesn't mean he doesn't deserve any kind of punishment that he gets. One is willing to be over the superhero. Yeah, I mean, he's kind of like we've always said, like he's a bit of a kind of poster boy for these. Well, but I don't think he's an out and out pedo. Do you know what I mean? But we're getting into it probably kind of worms. He's a child predator is the best way I like to describe him in a negative way. You know,
yeah.
But that's not who he is. He's very
okay, let's simplify things slightly then. Who is more redeemable, Lorne or Chris Chan?
Redeemable from what? Because
from both
we used to say that Chris Chan's never really tried to.
Who would you rather have a beer with?
Chris Chan.
Yeah,
100%.
me too. Yeah,
no doubt about it.
I'm glad that I fell down the Chris Chan rabbit hole because although, like, I knew about Lorne a long time before, although Chris Chan is not a great human being.
I don't think he's that bad.
No,
he's done a couple of. He smacked a fucking GameStop employee. It's not.
No, he maced him.
Yeah, but he didn't. Yeah, that's pretty shit. But he's not. He's not a malicious person. He's not. But Lorne does have that aspect to him where he is.
No, the thing with Chris Chan is he could have been a very entertaining guy. Sometimes watching those clips in the Gino Samuel documentaries, I'm like, this guy's pretty weird and watchable. But Lorne just isn't. Lorne thinks he is, and that's the worst thing about him with his fucking terrible music and thinking that he's really handsome or
whatever. This is why he gets trolled continuously. Because he's very easy to troll because his delusions are very pronounced and it's like the shit that he actually thinks is going on. I need to get myself a drink of water. Do you want one?
No, I'm alright, thanks.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
You'll have to keep your adoring public entertained for 10
Right,
seconds.
I'll try. My adoring public, of course. So, yeah, we've fallen into comparing Lorne to Chris Chan, which tends to happen when you're drunk at 2:30 in the morning. Andy isn't the superhero of TCAP, he's the super predator. Wow, yeah. No one's ego is as big as mine. Do not forget that. But I sound like Andy now, don't I? Sound like Andy last night. I'm just trying to be entertaining. I think it's when you run out of things to say. It's easy to fall back on the mock complementarianism. Actually, I'm not sure if complementarianism is a word. It sounds like something they might have done in 1940s Germany, and I probably don't want to get involved in complementarianism. So.
What was that?
I was just literally babbling.
Yeah, I've noticed.
Well, you told me to keep everyone entertained, and now it's time to put it to the public poll. Vole. A vole is like is that like a little thing that lives in the ground?
A mole?
Oh, mole. I was thinking of Voldemort.
Yeah, very similar.
Yeah.
Very similar. But, no, I do like the Lorne Chan comparison. I kind of like the little Chan rabbit hole that we've gone down. It is interesting.
I think there's a really good video to be made with clips and such, making a proper comparison between the two of them.
Dan's probably our man to do that, isn't it?
Yeah.
But, there's some similarities there. I think the main similarities are how much each person has been trolled. With Lorne, you've got a lot of justification to say it's deserved. I don't think that the amount that's happened is justified in Lorne's case, because I think what people forget is he's the most famous one from TCAP.
True.
Because it's more Car Crash TV. And he's more of a goofy character more than any of the others. But that doesn't mean that he's the worst one. He's probably one of the most harmless if you look at the show overall. Some of the other people, they deserve, like, let's look at somebody like Westerbeck, who I believe is out of prison now. he deserves any amount of trolling that would go on because I genuinely believe he's an ongoing risk to everybody.
Well, he'd
That he
already
comes
been
in-
in trouble before.
Exactly.
That, hadn't
He's a true monster. I don't think Lorne is a true monster. So anything that is done to Westerbeck, in my eyes, he's a danger to innocent people. So he shouldn't ever have been released. He should be in prison permanently. So
Do you know what I'd love to do? Is get Lorne and Chris Chan just have a chat to see what happens. I don't think Lorne would give Christine Chan the time of day.
he'd give Christine Chan the time.
Do you think he's that?
Yeah, just because
desperate?
it's Christine. Just like when he thought.
Oh, when he thought Nathaniel was the woman, yeah.
He thought in his own mind that Nathaniel was his arch nemesis, and then as soon as he found out that Nathaniel might be a woman, which he believed, he was like pretty nice to her, which I thought was amazing because.
But no one knows Lorne's thoughts on transgender people, do they?
But I think we're pretty certain that he wouldn't be that open-minded, would he?
I don't think so. I think Lorne would. I think Lorne would think he's the better person than
But
Chris
Lorne's
Chan.
not racist though.
But then again, Chris himself, it's like he doesn't like men either. It's a running theme between both of them. They don't like men.
Are you implying that there might be a bit of gayness in Lorne? Let's hope so.
Well, I hadn't thought of it that way, but I think both of them kind of a rather character defining quality they both has is they're not keen on male friends.
No, it's not. It's not that they're not keen. It's they don't know how to form
What
relationships with other males.
isn't that the most natural thing?
Yeah.
I mean, who was
Oh
your
yeah,
first
I'm not saying
friend
it's
as a
right. I'm
kid?
just fucking saying that's the way I see it.
But do you not think people? I mean, there are plenty of nice people out there. Do you not think during either of their lives, no one has said tried to be their mate, and they've just been too difficult a person to get on with?
Because
or something?
Lorne's too arrogant because he thinks he's always right. So immediately people are not going to respond to him.
But I think Chris Chan himself, he just doesn't like
Same with him.
men. No,
But that's don't forget we need to mention it. Chris Chan's got autism.
yeah.
And even if Lorne's got a bit, which he probably has, it's nowhere near like Chris Chan's. Chris Chan has got a disability. And it's a psychological one.
Well, let's not get into the defending Chris Chan for his autism thing, because I don't really want to bring that into account. Because I think, yes, admittedly, Chris is on the spectrum, but intelligence-wise, I would say he's far more intelligent than Lorne is.
No, I'm not. I don't. That's right. I don't want to go down that as well. But what I will say is, if he wasn't autistic at all, he wouldn't be in the situation that he's in even a little bit. It wouldn't have happened. The only reason
we've got into this debate
Right,
before,
right,
and I don't want to do
alright,
it again
okay,
because I don't believe his autism should be an excuse.
Okay.
No, I've met lots of people on the spectrum, and they are more self-aware than many other
No,
people.
I'm not saying that, and we're struggling to stay away from what we don't want to discuss. But do you not agree? Can I not ask you a question? If he wasn't autistic, you've got to agree that he wouldn't be this YouTube personality he is now. Do you not think? Because he wouldn't be the person he is. Do you understand what I'm getting at?
If Chris Chan had never mentioned he had autism and never made it aware to anyone he had autism, you would just think he's a crazy bloke.
Yeah, but that's kind of irrelevant, really, to what my point is.
Well, explain it again.
So if they didn't know he had autism, but what I'm trying to say is because of the way he behaves, it sets him down a different path. So if he didn't have that condition, he wouldn't have found himself at all in that.
The worrying thing for me here in this context is there are people out there, they might not be documented. Let's take our good friend Robert Hocker, for example, who don't, as far as we're aware, have autism. Who, if we had a scale of how mental you are, and I mean mental as in just being a bit crazy, Robert Hocker probably falls further down that scale. He's just undocumented like Chris Chan. Chris Chan himself, he may suffer from autism. Many people do. But it's such a wide spectrum. You and I could suffer from
No, I'm not
autism.
trying to justify.
I think
Don't
in this
get
day
me
and
wrong.
age,
I'm not
though,
trying to justify what he's done. I'm trying to, and I don't think you've really answered my question. Really, is if he hadn't have had autism, would he be in the position that he is? And you must
it's
agree that he
irrelevant.
wouldn't.
No, it's irrelevant because we would never know. He could still be exactly the same. His kind of form of autism is what happens when children are born when their parents are very old.
Which is what happened with him.
It's a common thing. I had a friend in college. Now, as far as I was aware, he wasn't autistic or anything, but he did some pretty weird stuff. But his parents were also very old. I think by bringing autism into the mix and saying it, you're almost doing a disservice.
I know
to
what you
Chris
mean
Chan.
because he kind of uses it as a crutch, doesn't
Yeah,
he?
he uses it himself, and that's the problem.
Any behaviour that he exhibits, which he might think, shit, that was crap. I shouldn't have done that. What he used to
it's
do,
because I'm autistic.
exactly.
Yes.
He'd cling to that defence.
And that should not be why I would say the majority of high-functioning autistic people would not want to be treated any differently to people without autism. So why should Chris get special treatment just because he goes on?
No,
about
I don't think
so
you should
much?
get special treatment. That's not really what I'm asking. I don't think you. I might not be explaining myself well enough. What I'm trying to say is, we should ask yourself, would a situation that he's in now have arisen? In other words, would he have got bullied to the degree that he did? Would he have got picked on? I don't think he would. Those people that were in the videos...
But that makes those people worse people.
I know, that's my point. But I'm trying to say, give the guy a bit of empathy. If he didn't have that autistic... And he's not a bad guy, really.
He needed a bit of decent guidance. He needed a parent sitting down. He needed a good best mate that he could have had a chat with.
Exactly. So he didn't have that. And he ended up like he did. But even when that pickle guy was nicking his girlfriend, he never got aggressive towards that person. Nah. You never detected any hostility. He just went with it. And he was fucked around that often.
He actually took that. If you listen to that audio recording, because it's a pretty weird thing to happen. And
that was the one thing that struck out. So we can kind of say he's not inherently malicious. So, but he's been twisted that many times. He's had more fake girlfriends on the internet than Lorne will ever have, and that's saying something.
Yeah.
So he's been fucked around that much. He doesn't know his arse from his elbow, and that's why he's turned into a fucking woman.
Well, yeah. Well, whether or not I think, although he may suffer from autism, he's not an unintelligent person. I still have my own theory that the reason he's now identifying as a woman so that he can get into the trans lesbian scene and get himself some sweet, sweet China.
I don't think that's the case. I don't know. But my belief is what I said to you before about it. I think it's because he's confused and it's kind of a retaliation against being straight because he can't get a girlfriend. So it's kind of him. Well, Chris... It's his own defence mechanism to what he's been through.
The thing is, these two guys we're talking about, they're actually both a piece of folklore history because they were incels before incels were a thing. Like the original incel, of course, or the most admired. If you've read any of sort of the writings of the incel community, I would strongly advise against it because it's a fucked up place. But like, is Elliot Rodger? He was the one that they were all like, oh, he's the guy. But those two, Chris himself made himself into it. Chris Chan is probably. And if Gino Samuel had titled it, I bet his documentary would have had even more views. If he had titled it Chris Chan, the original incel, his documentary would have got even more views. But then he would have been putting something demeaning in the title towards him, and his channel would have been taken down even quicker.
Yeah, now we're getting onto the subject of shitty fucking YouTube politics. But where's my glass of water?
I don't know.
It's kind of disappeared.
What?
What's wrong with it?
It's behind you on the radiator.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Um,
No, but we're always. The thing is, as well, like, what is it in me and you that find cases like Chan and Armstrong so interesting?
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I think, and it kind of comes back to what we were talking about at the beginning of this stream. It's watching people who are documented constantly on the internet. It's almost an offshoot of realities TV, but it's realer than realities TV. Because you take something like Big Brother, and it's still edited.
It's real cases in real life, isn't it?
Yeah,
but yeah, it kind of isn't at the same time because they live that far out of reality that it's bullshit.
They do, but well, in regards to someone like Chris, I almost envy having so little self-awareness.
Like ignorance is bliss kind of thing. Yeah. No, you're right, because it's kind of a bit like the Forrest Gump type character when, you know, he's written in a way that he doesn't have an ego yet. He hasn't developed that far. So he's really endearing and he achieves everything that normal blokes couldn't even dream of. So there's always that endearing quality to somebody that has that innocence. But with Lorne and Chris Chan, they went down a dark path, which makes it different.
Yeah.
With Lorne, he tried to do something that he'll never be able to escape from, and he just can't get his head around
But
it.
I think you're more vehemently against trolling as a whole, whereas for me, if entertainment comes from it, like, I don't think there's a necessity to be cruel. But if someone...
I think you're being a bit hard on me there, because I took the Dax stuff very well.
Okay, no, but I think the idea wasn't talking in regards to what's happened to you or I, but in regards to what's happened to Lorne or Chris. I think you would stand against it more wholeheartedly than I would. Like something like the Liquid Chris saga. I think it's a brilliant piece of entertainment. It's almost art to an extent. You know, I want to do the Liquid Lorne just because it will be like an ode to Liquid Chris, which I think, for me personally, is one of the most brilliant pieces of trolling ever. But at the same time, I don't think there was any malintent with Liquid Chris. I mean, yeah, okay, he was getting in Chris's mind and taking advantage of his naive nature. But he was also doing it in a very funny way. I mean, you probably couldn't do it to anyone else but Chris Chan, but convince him you have the same name and you live at the same address and you've also created the same comic book character. That's you know, for me, that is to an extent art, and I think it needs to be forgiven. And I would say even in regards to maybe the original Ramona calls, when there was sort of that stuff where it was like, you know, you need to bet yourself, Lorne, you need to admit that you did this, you need to try and write yourself. Okay, maybe not so much entertainment as with Liquid Chris, but it was more like there was a poignant goal.
Yeah, no, but that's the reason why I didn't have a problem with it at first, and then why I started to disagree with it, because it turned into something that was just purely to try and destroy him. And if you, as any human being, want to destroy another person for any reason other than, you know, self-defense, then you've gone down a really dark path. Do you understand what I'm getting at?
Right. You need to... Oh, fuck, I need to remember this guy's name. Because this was proper art, and it was taking trolling to the extreme. Have you ever... You probably haven't, but maybe someone in the chat has heard of the YouTuber Grade A Under A. And I think I might have discussed this on a previous stream, but this guy, he basically had no subs, maybe 50 subs, something like that. And what he did is he took audio clippings of Grade A Under A and made it sound like he was bigging this guy up, saying like he was the best YouTuber ever. And then he put in the title of his video, he's like, Grade A Under A calls me a genius. And he went from 50 to 2,000 subs in no time.
Brilliant.
What happens next? Grade A Under A makes a video about him. Go, what the fuck? I've never said anything about this guy. He goes from 2,000 subs to 40,000 subs because he just trolled the fuck out of a big YouTuber.
Brilliant.
But that for me is one of the most sort of incredible. But there was no malice in it. All he did was take someone's original things that were online.
There's nothing wrong with that.
And use that to further his own career.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that because there's no attacking anybody involved. There's no animosity. There's no anger.
But he also got the exact reaction he wanted from the far bigger YouTuber by doing that. Because the far bigger YouTuber then came back, he got under his skin because he was like, I didn't say this. Look at what this guy's doing. And all he does, it might be negative, but all he did was bring more attention to the other guy's channel. It's I wish I could remember who that guy is, but yeah, he was. It was very interesting. I can't remember who I heard. I heard it about him on one of the videos. The guy makes a lot of Elliot Rodger videos. Not Shaman, another guy makes a lot of Elliot Rodger videos, and he did it.
I'm not sure who that is.
Mark, no, I've not heard of Dragon Lord. But guys, I guess we probably shouldn't stay too long because it's pretty late here and I have to work in the morning.
We were supposed to be having an early night, weren't we?
Yeah, we were, and it's nearly 3.
It's a bit gay, that, doesn't it?
I'm gonna find out the thing I was telling you about that guy. I'll send it to you tomorrow. We can have a chat about that because it'll be a bit more light-hearted.
Yeah, well, we have gone a bit fucking heavy, haven't we?
Yeah. Well, a bit of everything. It's been fun as always. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Yeah, cheers, guys. It's been. I hope you've enjoyed it.
Yeah, apologies if the sound volume was too low. I think I've been having some issues with my camera. Oh shit! I probably should have just turned the microphone volume up here. I bet now, as we say goodbye, it's going to be much louder and better for everyone. Probably burst some people's headphones. So thanks, guys, for joining us. We'll be back for the next chapter of A Gay Old Chat. And I hope to see you all here again. And take care, everyone. Thanks for joining me, Andy.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Good night, everyone. Bye.